everyone, and welcome to our training today. Today we are talking about how to get gas cards for your business without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check. So we're going to talk today about, at least I think about a handful of different gas cards in the process to get approved, who they report to, everything you need to know to build business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your social, and obtaining gas cards along the way. So by the end of this training, you're going to know, think about a handful of gas cards that you're able to get, the process to get approved. You're also going to know where they report to, everything you need to know to get these gas cards without a personal guarantee and without a personal credit check. For those that don't know me, my name is Ty Crandall. I'm actually CEO here at Credit Suite, also the author of Business Credit Decoded. So we helped about 40,000 people now build business credit for their EIN that's not linked to their social. So what I'm teaching you today isn't theory. This is exactly what's worked and what's working for literally tens of thousands of business owners. Even as we get into a recession, this becomes even more important than ever before. And we're going to talk about the changes today in the credit markets that we've seen in 2020, as well as talk about all the things relating to these gas cards. So we're talking about business credit. Remember, we're talking about business credit that's independent of personal credit. So applying for these kind of gas cards and applying for business credit that's not linked, or that's linked to your EIN, not your social, it's not going to harm your personal credit scores. It's not even going to show as inquiries on your actual personal credit report. So building this asset can only help your business because, again, what you're doing with business credit is you're building a credit profile and score that's linked to your EIN that's not linked to your social. So you're separating your consumer credit from your commercial credit. You're separating your liability. You're not personally liable for these accounts. And in doing so, we're going to go through and get you gas cards that don't require a personal credit check. So your personal credit quality doesn't matter whether or not you can get approved, and it also doesn't show as inquiries. There's no reporting of the fact that you're even applying for these gas cards on your personal credit report, okay? So that way just gives you a much better future because, again, you're able basically with business credit to have your business fund itself instead of it relying on your personal credit to try to fund it like so many entrepreneurs do. So remember, business credit doesn't just happen. What I'm going to show you today, you've got to follow a series of steps. You've got to actively build your business credit. Also keep in mind, this training is not going to have all the details of the steps. The purpose of this training is to teach you how to get gas cards. There's other steps, so feel free to refer to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/credit suite, that gives you a lot of other details that drills down each part of these steps, but you've got to actively do this. And what I mean by this is that if you go in the consumer world, you're going to accidentally build consumer credit. You're going to go to Target. They're going to ask you if you want a credit card. You're going to say yes. You apply. You get approved. Whether you know it or whether you don't even think about it, you know that credit card is going to report in your consumer credit reports. But the problem with business credit is it's much different. Most of the credit you get doesn't report to the business credit reporting agencies. So you have to really be aware of the steps, consciously and actively building it and going through this process, because it's not going to just accidentally happen like it can with consumer credit. Now, it all starts with starter vendors. It's one of the ways that we begin this process is we get initial credit. We actually come through and we build your fundability. And we're not going to talk about fundability today, but we've got plenty of training at youtube.com/credit suite where you can look at the fundability, the fundamental components that lenders and credit issuers look at to determine if you should be approved or not for financing. Then you've got to come in and build initial business credit, and you do those through vendors. There's all kinds of vendors. As a matter of fact, next week on the 12th of May, we're having a huge presentation of training at the same time, Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern, where we're going to teach you 7 vendors plus that you can use to build business credit. There's also a great program called a credit line hybrid that if you have a good credit score, 680 or higher, or a guarantor that does, you could use their credit or your credit to get like up to 150,000 in credit lines that also report to the business credit reporting agencies. So either of those ways work, whether you're using vendors and getting credit with trade vendors that report to the business credit reporting agencies, or whether you're getting credit through this credit line hybrid and getting real active credit lines you could use to grow your business and building business credit that way. Either way, those steps are where you have to start to get that initial credit on your business credit report. Now, when you get credit that does report to the business credit reporting agencies, you're going to have to want to use that credit. You're going to want to make sure you pay on time. Your main business credit scores with Dun & Bradstreet and with Equifax are completely based on how you pay your bills. 85% of Experian's IntelliScore is based on how you pay your bills. So you got to make sure you pay your bill on time or early. And what I mean by this is you got to pay it when it's due. You know, in the consumer credit world, you're not even considered late until you're 30 days late. That's when it affects your credit. In the business world, when you are one day past the due date, you start harming your personal credit. So you got to make sure the credit I'm going to show you today that you're paying these bills on time or early. The earlier earlier you pay, the higher the score. So the earlier, the better. Now remember, those vendors, that credit line hybrid, are going to report to the business credit reporting agencies, and that's going to help you build a good business credit profile and score. And I always say these are the three components of business credit. You get a credit with vendors of the credit line hybrid that put initial accounts on your business credit report. Those are called trade lines. Then that helps you establish a credit profile. Then you establish a credit score. Then we use your established credit profile and score to get gas cards and all this other kind of financing that you're able to get using your EIN credit once it's established. So the COVID-19 situation is changing our economy. As we know, conditions are in flux, and a lot of people are concerned about there's going to be a recession. A lot of people, like me, believe it's imminent that there's going to be a recession as a result of everything that's happening here. But recession or no recession, you've got to fill that gas tank. So why not build business credit while you're at it? I mean, that's exactly the benefit. If you're in transportation, this is a must, because you're spending $600 to $1,000 to fill up a big rig. Maybe a little cheaper now. The gas is so cheap, but it's still expensive. And with business credit, you're able to use these on these commercial credit cards that's not linked to your EIN. But even if you just are a regular business that's not in transportation, you still could have a graphic wrap done for your vehicle. You still have multiple vehicles that you and your staff are using that you have a need for these kind of gas cards. So what happened? So we checked out a lot of these, and we did the research for you, as we do with all of the ones that we actually include in our business finance suite. And today I'm going to go through about a handful of these that I think can work for you really well. So remember, small business credit is independent of the economy. Coronavirus or not, these credit cards are out there, but be aware that as the situation continues, some of these requirements are going to change. Okay, remember, what I'm showing you today is today's requirements. We have an entire data team, and all that data team does is they just work with underwriters at these credit issuers. So in real time, our clients get access to see exactly what the underwriting requirements are on every kind of business credit card you could possibly imagine. But what I'm telling you today is as of today. This stuff changes daily. That's why we have an entire data team that communicates with underwriters to recognize those changes. It's also why a lot of people take 2 to 3 years to build their business credit, because they see information that's outdated. They learn from other people that are trying to build their business credit and other novices, and then they go in and they start applying for credit, and all the terms have changed, the requirements have changed, the reporting of those accounts have changed. So again, keep in mind that this thing changes all the time. What I'm going to show you today is as of today, but keep in mind that these requirements change all the time. So you always want to try to check with the source directly. Okay, if you're working with Credit Suite, you don't have to worry about that. Like I said, our back office gives you access to all this information on a regular basis. So you're able to come through and see the underwriting requirements in real time for any account that you're applying for. But if you're not, then you really need to consider contacting these actual companies. So for example, this is what our clients see. Our clients have a step-by-step system that actually help go through the process of building business credit. And the way that we tier this out, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, they're always applying for credit they know they're going to get, because they know they have enough trade lines in tier 1 to move to tier 2, and they have enough trade lines in tier 2 to move to tier 3. So it makes it easier when you have this kind of information. You can see Exxon, Conoco, Speedway. You can see where they report to. You can see the actual underwriting guidelines. You're able to see this information. So this is why our clients are able to come through it and do it so quick. But if you're not our client, that's okay. Just keep in mind, you need to communicate with the source to make sure that what I'm going to show you today is up to date when you apply, because all of this stuff changes. What it takes to qualify, the actual special link to get approved. As you can see, it's a very special link to get approved. All this details of who they report to, this changes regularly. This is why you really need to make sure that you talk with the source if you're not accessing that kind of information, to make sure that it's 100% up to date. So a lot of benefits here. Per the SBA, business credit cards have a 10 to 100 times higher limit than personal credit cards. So that means if you're used to getting a gas card with a $500 limit or a $1,000 limit because your personal credit might have issues, even with bad personal credit in the business world, you're still able to get $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 gas cards fairly quickly. And I'm going to show you today how you're able to do that. And you don't need collateral. You don't need cash flow. You don't need tax returns. You don't need bank statements to be able to qualify. Why that matters so much going into a recession is that more than likely with COVID-19, you've seen your revenue decrease. Okay, whether it happened immediately when it happened or months after, you're probably going to be affected adversely by this, like many other business owners are. So if you have to supply tax returns, if you have to supply bank statements, it's really tough to get the kind of financing that's looking at those things right now. But with these gas cards I want to show you, they don't need collateral. You don't need cash flow. You don't need financials. You don't need tax tax return. So you're able to get approved even if your revenue has declined. Okay, now our business credit builder, again, full of a lot of these cards that I've actually showed you, and I'm just going to show you some of these closer starter cards that actually report to the reporting agencies, and I'm going to show you where they actually report so you can use them to build business credit. So whether you're new to business credit building or you're an old pro at it, it pays to get these cards, especially if you have vehicles that actually are going to need to be fueled. So let's dive in and talk about some of these accounts that you could use to get credit for your EIN that's not linked to your SSN. So 76 is owned by Phillips 66. They sell gas in more than 1,800 retail fuel sites in the United States, and this card reports to Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experience. So if you've ever followed my training, you understand why this is important. We refer this to payment experiences. The reporting of an account to a reporting agency is a payment experience. So if you get one account that reports to multiple reporting agencies, it's multiple payment experiences. And again, let me show you why this is so important. I oftentimes teach that you need 5 accounts in order to start to get retail credit tier. That's retail credit. That's any kind of retail store. Amazon, Apple, Best Buy, Sam's Club, Costco, Office Depot, Staples, almost every major retailer. Then when you have 8 cards, you can start to get gas cards. But remember, when I say are 8 accounts, when you have 5 accounts or 8 accounts is what I'm saying, but really what I'm talking about are payment experiences. So when I say that you need 8 payment experiences to get the fuel cards typically, well then these count as 3. 76 counts as three payment experiences, because the reporting of one account to one reporting agency counts as a payment experience. So if that account reports to 3 reporting agencies like 76 does, it's extremely valuable to you because it's 3 payment experiences. If you got this one card, it would give you an account on all 3 of your major commercial reporting agency reports, and that makes it easier and faster for you to get Visa cards, MasterCards, auto financing, all without the personal guarantee and credit check. So I want to point this out because every single account I ever show you how to get, it's very important that you always pay attention to which bureaus they report to. The more bureaus they report to, the better the benefit that it is for you, okay? And this is, again, why we make it so prevalent in our actual system of where everything reports, because it's one of the most important things you need to know. You need to know the terms. You need to know whether it's revolving or not, right? You need to know how fast you can get funding. You need to know where it reports to. Okay, so these are the kind of things that are very important, especially where it reports to. Now, to qualify, you need to have an entity in good standing, an EIN number with the IRS. You need to have a business address matching everywhere online. Okay, I talk about this a lot. It's called congruency. You need to make sure that the information on your website for your address is exactly the same as the address that you have on Yelp. It's the same as on Facebook. It's the same listed everywhere. So if we look at all of your Yellow pages, if we look at Facebook, if we look at your website, everywhere, the Secretary of State, your address needs to match everywhere. As I often say, one of the biggest reasons that business owners get declined is because the address they put on the application doesn't match the application they put with the Secretary of State. So make sure that that business address is matching everywhere. You are not going to get this account because of these incongruencies. You need to have a DUNS number. You need to have a business license. You need to have a business bank account. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to ask for your bank account. It just means they're going to ask you for bank references. And a bank reference would prove that you actually have a business bank account. Now, if you're not approved based on business credit history or been in business 1 year, then they may require a $500 deposit or a personal guarantee. So let's look at this. As I talk about this a lot, you can't start with gas cards. By now, you should have built your fundability. You should have built the vendor credit. If you don't know a lot about vendors, again, go to youtube.com/credit suite, and we have training on vendors. We've even got our newest one will be coming out May 12th, 2020, and it teaches you the vendors to get to initially start building business credit. Remember, I also told you if you have a 680 FICO score or a guarantor that does, you can get $150,000 in credit lines to start building initial business credit. So at this point, you should already have 5 to 8 payment experiences on your business credit report. I want to make that clear because I'm skipping a lot of steps here. I'm just teaching you how to get these gas cards and what it takes to get for each one of these gas cards. I haven't talked about all the fundability. I haven't talked about vendors. I haven't talked about credit line hybrid. That stuff's got to be done before you get here. You need to have your fundability done. Now, by the way, if you built your fundability, then you already did all this stuff. You already have your bank account set up. You have your DUNS number. You have your EIN. You have your entity set up. In my fundability training, I teach you how to do all this. So I'm already anticipating that you've done all this. And then I'm anticipating that you already went through and you already went and built your vendor accounts. or you got credit line hybrid, and you got 5 to 8 initial accounts on your business credit report by now, at this point. Now you should be applying for this. And if you've done what you're supposed to do by now, then you should not need to supply a personal guarantee or a deposit. But let's say you want to skip all that. And let's say you don't mind a personal guarantee or you don't mind a deposit, then you're able to get this a little faster without waiting for those 5 to 8 accounts reports. So I'm giving you options here. You could build 5 to 8 accounts on your business credit reports with vendors or credit line hybrid, then come and get this without a personal guarantee, without a deposit. Or you could come and get this early on. Maybe when you're getting other vendors, you decide to add 76 as well. And if you do that early on before you get 5 to 8 reported accounts, then you're going to probably be asked for a deposit or a personal guarantee. Now, Eric says, why does WEX ask for a deposit or majority of the fuel cards? And this is exactly what I just said. So hopefully that answers your question, Eric. So the answer in Eric's question is exactly what we just talked about. Why does WEX ask for a deposit for a majority of their fuel cards? The answer, Eric, is that you don't have enough accounts reporting on your business credit reports in order to get the account. That's exactly what I mean. So let's look at our actual system, how our clients build business credit. If you come in here, for example, we're telling you how many accounts you need to before you can get certain accounts. So in this case, you need to have 10 payment experiences before you can get to a Kanoko account without a personal guarantee and credit check. So that answers your question, Eric. So you can get Kanoko with a personal guarantee or with a deposit, but if you want to get around the personal guarantee and without the personal credit check, for that individual account, not all gas cards, but for that one, you'd have to have 10 payment experiences reporting. Now, don't forget what I showed you. If this one account reports to 3 reporting agencies, that's 3 payment experiences. But that answers your question, Eric. You're going to have established credit to get around that deposit or personal guarantee. Now, you can apply online with them or over the phone, and they're going to give you net 22 terms typically, and you can get revolving if you have more established business credits. And what net 22 means is it means you have 22 days to pay back what you put on that card in its entirety. Now, they do have a revolving account you can also get, but with this account that I'm talking about specifically, it's got a net 22 term. Let's talk about Marathon. Marathon Petroleum Company provides transportation fuels, asphalt, specialty products throughout the U.S. Their comprehensive product line supports commercial, industrial, retail operations. They report to all 3 reporting agencies as well. That's 3 payment experiences with Marathon. Now, to qualify, you've got to have that entity in good standing. You have to have that EIN number with the IRS. You have to have a business address that matches everywhere. You need to have that DUNS number. You need to have a business license if applicable. Marathon's one of those places that really helps you to have a business license. So if you can get one for your industry, get one in your city, get one in your county. In Pasco County, Florida, where I live, you can get what's called an occupational license if you have a business down here. So that license goes a long way to get approved for accounts like Marathon. And they're going to ask you for bank references with Marathon as well. Now, again, it's the same as we talked about, and Eric asked about this as well. Again, if you don't have the established accounts that you need, probably 8+ payment experiences reporting, they're going to ask you for that deposit guarantee. Almost all gas cards will. Now, this is a good thing. It means you can get the gas cards if you want to move faster to get them and you don't want to build more initial business credit as you should. But if you do build initial business credit as you should and you already have 5 to 8 reported payment experiences, then you can get around that deposit and get around that personal guarantee. So WEX Fleet, okay, and Oliver says, your credit hybrid is money. BP, MC, and PG, no deposit. Yes, that is. Well, the credit line hybrid it's cash credit lines is actually what it is. I like how you refer to it is money. It definitely is, because it's a good way to get cash credit lines you need while building your business credit. So WEX Fleet Card, Rights Express offers universal fleet cards, heavy truck cards, and universally accepted business fleet cards. Multiple cards they offer. These cards have features that support small businesses, including a rewards program. Okay, and before applying, though, you need to know that you don't want to apply for multiple accounts with them at exactly the same time. You want to leave enough room in between. Otherwise, they red flag your account for fraud. Let me explain what happens here. There's a lot of fuel cards, right? So let me give you an example. When we come back to our system, we just look at the different kind of fuel cards that are out here. There's a lot of fuel cards, right? I mean, if you could look at this, Exxon, Conoco, Speedway, we've got Sinclair Gas, we've got Chevron, we've got BP. There's a lot more, but these are just the ones that need this many trade lines to get approved. But a lot of these are underwritten by exactly the same source. So that's why you don't want to apply for multiple accounts. Here, now let me see. I thought I saw something on Conoco that gave us that hint. And it wasn't Conoco, it was another one that I opened. But again, the key here to know is that a lot of these are underwritten by exactly the same source. Here it is, Exxon. So you can see here that when I go to Exxon's special link to get approved, who do you see is underwriting that? You see that link? It's through Citibank. So Citibank underwrites this gas card. And that's what you need to know is a lot of fuel cards are underwritten by the same bank. Now this has a couple different things you should know about this. And one has to do with social, which I'll tell you in a minute. Well, actually, I'll tell you right now. So this means that you don't want to apply for too many of these accounts at the same time because what happens is they're underwritten by the same bank. So when they see that you've got different applications into all these different sources, they could red flag your account for fraud because they see you're applying for all these places at the same time. So you want to apply for one, wait to get the decision before you apply for another. Now, the other reason this is important is that in 2018 June, the federal government said for money laundering purposes, all banks that are opening new accounts, here's the wording, banks that open new accounts are required to verify your identity. So if you're getting a new account with Exxon through Citi, which is a bank, then guess what they're going to do? They're going to ask for your social security number. They're going to ask for your social security number to verify your actual identity. So you're going to be asked for your social security number only to verify your identity. Now, the credit issuer should say that in their process. They should clarify that, hey, we are only asking for this information to prove your identity. But if they don't do that, then you probably don't want to apply online. You want to fax or call to let them know, I am not authorizing a personal guarantee or credit check. I want to move forward to get approved without you actually looking at my personal credit, without you affecting it, without a guarantee. Now, remember, as I talked about, if you have the necessary trade lines that you need in order to move forward, if in this case, if you had the 10 trade lines, you wouldn't need the personal guarantee or credit check. You could get approved for that account without either of those. But if you came in and tried to come in with only 2 trade lines reporting and come in and try to get Exxon or Sinclair, or Sears or Lowe's for that matter, then that's when they're going to deny you because you didn't supply the social security number personal guarantee. So I'm only telling you this because when you apply for these, they're going to ask for your social to verify your identity if they're underwritten by a bank. Like we just established, Canoco is underwritten by Citi. You need to be conscious to not let them do the personal credit check. Or it becomes very important. Actually, it wasn't Canoco. It was actually the other one. It was Exxon that we were looking at. So you need to be very careful to make sure that you are not supplying that personal guarantee or credit check. You're going to have to supply your social for identity purposes if it's underwritten by a bank. And the WEX Fleet Card also reports to all 3, Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian to qualify. Entity in good standing, EIN number, business address matching everywhere. Again, this is one more reason it's important. And again, I will say this, I talk about fundability a lot, but some cards, as you've noticed, don't need a business address to match everywhere. That's not one of the requirements. Others are. That's the way fundability works. If you ignore my fundability training and you decide you don't want to do some of that stuff, like make sure your address matches everywhere, some gas cards you'll get approved for, some you won't. That's why fundability is so important. If you want to get maximum amount of funding for your business, you got to make sure fundability is right. Otherwise, some sources won't approve you and others will. And I always use the address example. Amazon will approve you with the home address. Walmart won't. Okay, so this is the difference between making sure that you have the fundability aligned. Is one of those important factors is to make sure that address matches everywhere. Business license, if applicable, DUNS number, business bank account setup, and your business phone number needs to be listed in 411. This is the first gas card we've looked at so far that has that fundability requirement, but that's why it's on my list of fundability requirements, because if you don't have your number listed with 411, you're not going to get approved for this WEX Fleet Card. It's so important. So if you're not approved based on business credit history or 1 year in business, then $500 deposit or personal guarantee is needed. Okay, now again, remember, we've got 3 different ways here to get approved. We can get approved without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check, because we built our 5, 8, 10 payment experiences that we need to get approved without the guarantee and credit check. Option 2, we're in business 1 year, and we don't need a personal guarantee and credit check because maybe we don't have 10 accounts, but we've been in business 1 year and we've got 6 accounts reporting, so maybe we can still get approved. Option 3, we don't have enough business credit accounts, we're not in business a year, and they're asking us for that $500 deposit or personal guarantee. So remember, based on your time in business, based on your actual business credit established, that's going to determine if you need the guarantee or credit history. If you've built enough business credit at this point, you can get around both the guarantee and the actual deposit. You can apply online or over the phone. You can get Net 22, but can be extended to a Net 30 account and you can get it here. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to want to take a screenshot of that. If you're listening on the podcast, I could just say it's onlineservices.secure.force.com/credit application. And that should hopefully get you to a point where you have options where you could choose the WEX Fleet Card application. So conditions won't be like this forever. And with these credit cards and a good payment history, your business can emerge even better off than it was before. So keep those things in mind. And to give you, and I think we looked at a few of them, but here, let's jump in. I think we even looked at Exxon, but let's look at Speedway while we're here anyways. While we have our system set up, let me kind of give you some of the requirements here for Speedway. So Speedway also, D&B, Experian, and Equifax, they actually report to. Okay, entity in good standing, EIN, business address needs to match with them as well, D&B number, the DUNS number, the license, the bank account. You need to have good business payment history, okay, overall to merit the application, or you shouldn't even apply for Speedway. Okay, if not, they're going to ask for that guarantee and that deposit, and you can get approved at speedway.com/business cards/ and that's a net 22 account as well. And I'm going to give you one more because I think we were already here. We already looked at Exxon and Canoco, but let me dive in a little bit deeper. As we know, Exxon is underwritten by Citi. Okay, your business needs to be operational, though, but for Exxon for 3 years with yearly income of $1 million, or it's not even worth applying for Exxon. So again, they report to D&B, Equifax, and Experian, and they're going to ask you for trade reference numbers as well, and they're going to require Social Security numbers for information purposes when applying for this account. But again, if nervous about them pulling your credit check, please speak to the credit department before you even go through that. So some information on Exxon as well. So we've talked about a lot of gas cards, even some that are off presentation, just to kind of give you some extra information. Now remember, business credit's independent of personal credit. It's also independent of what the economy does. We've seen the credit markets right now doing fantastic. By that I mean this is what's happening. We see a lot of people not getting approved for credit cards when they initially go in and apply. What a lot of people don't know, I'm going to do a training on this soon, is that you can easily call and get your stuff approved manually. Okay, we work with a source that all they do is get people high limit credit cards that are cash credit cards. And I can tell you that they've seen the majority of applications get denied. They call the underwriter, and the underwriters are the ones that are manually approving these accounts. So I tell you that because that's how the world works. We have all this information because it's relationships that we have with underwriters. The people that get you cash credit have relationships with underwriters. So that means that when your account is denied, you have to actually speak with somebody in the actual underwriting department to get approved. So I'm giving you a very important tip. Okay, it's a really important tip to know that you can actually come in and call the credit issuer if you get denied and talk through the denial with them, and that oftentimes, if you do it right, can turn a denial into approval. So the credit markets are free flowing. We're seeing tons of credit issued, but we are seeing with some cash credit that you have to talk to an underwriter to get approved, whereas you did not need to before coronavirus. You can build this asset now and improve your business future with these gas cards. So hopefully that helps you. And don't forget, we have access to all these and many more, as you saw in our business finance suite. So if we can help you along the way, please let us know. creditsuite.com. Okay, and if we can ever help you with financing, let us know. Okay, we never charge you a dime of money to get the credit line hybrid or any kind of loan or credit line. We work with SBA loans. We work with everything. So if we can help you in any way get credit and financing for your business, then let us know. On financing, the lenders will charge points, the lenders will charge fees, but we never charge you any money. Of course, our business credit building system has an investment. Okay, but if you're just coming to get loans and credit lines, we can help you with that at no cost, do all the work for you, and even get you cheaper pricing than you'll get on your own. Okay, and also on the business credit side, we can help you through the process, taking 2-3 years of this process and condense it down to only months. So now you know a lot of great gas cards you can get for your business without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check, who they report to, how to get them, everything. If you got value out of this, do me a favor, give me a like. That's where YouTube's algorithm decides if other people should see this or not. So if you got value from this, do me a favor and please go ahead and give me a like. And then also subscribe if you want to get more information about other training with fundability, gas cards, Walmart credit card, all these type of things. This is what we talk about. It's how to get money for your business. If you want to follow us in other places, we go live on Facebook every week. We go live on YouTube every week. We have daily training on Instagram, Twitter, amongst many other places. And we have a podcast, 300,000 downloads that you can listen on the go to help you as well. So you can access all that at the top right of our page, creditsuite.com. Now, Wish Co says, hey, Ty, I applied for a Speedway car and got approved with no personal guarantee. Congratulations, that's awesome. They sent me a statement and the card's in the mail, but I just tried to use it and it wasn't authorized. I called and they said my account is being reviewed a second time before authorization. Have you heard of this before? Yeah, that's not uncommon. It's not uncommon at all, especially with fleet cards. That's actually very common, I found, with fleet cards. So just wait it out to hear the second authorization. A lot of that has to do with fraud. A lot of it is just to make sure that it's not a fraudulent account. And also keep in mind, if you applied for multiple gas cards at the same time, that could have been what triggered that secondary review, as we talked about here. Oftentimes that is what triggers the secondary review, is applying for multiple cards at the same time. But wait it out, and if you don't hear from them by the time you get the cards, I would call them and ask that question and see where they are with the authorization process. If we can help you along the way, give us a ring. Okay, send us an email. Okay, we will sit there with an initial call with you guys, and on the initial call, we will look and see how fundable your business is. We'll check things like your Secretary of State to see how fundable your business is. We will also come in and help you access your business credit reports at no cost with all 3 reporting agencies. And we'll also do a free check with the reporting agencies to see if you're established now and you don't know you are. Maybe even you could have a failing credit score, even though you have no credit. We'll do those kind of checks for you as well. And we'll also tell you all the money you can get for your business. And all that happens at absolutely no cost just by giving us a ring at 877-600-2487. We'll also give you tips and tactics to build your business credit for your AIN that's not linked to your social. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Have a great day. I'll see you back here on YouTube tomorrow, which is Wednesday, May 6th at 11 o'clock a.m. Thanks, everybody.